to the effectiveness of an honorable leader. This presentation aims to highlight a few leadership styles and characteristics, as well as ethics' role in a leadership context. But before we examine ethics' role in leadership, I will briefly discuss a personality classification that classifies leadership by traits, as well as a couple of leadership style theories that are universally recognized. But before we become leaders, we show unique traits that may determine our leadership style. Widely accepted, the Big Five model of personality categorizes these traits into surgency, agreeableness, adjustment, conscientiousness, and openness to experience. The problem with this model is something I like to call trait overlap. So we like the surgency, which deals with dominance as a leader. You may feel that you lie in the surgency category, but then the next day, you may feel like you lie in the agreeableness category, which deals with your flexibility as a leader. So we can never seem to figure out which category we lie in. So I think we all can agree we're just far too complex to be placed in just one category. Taking a look at a similar approach, Goldman's proposed 6 styles of leadership. This categorizes leaders by visionary, coaching, affiliate, democratic, pace setting, and commanding. Now this approach brings me back to earlier this semester, which sounds so long ago. But in one of my leadership classes, the professor posted a few situations, and based on your response, you were placed into one of these categories. Now I kid you not, every student in the class had a different response for each situation. So there lies the problem. We cannot determine what kind of leader we are and what kind of leader we want to be. Now looking at a simpler approach, transactional leadership versus transformational leadership. Transactional leaders are all about efficiency. They use what I like to call the carrot and stick approach. They get their followers compliance through reward and punishment. Versus transformational leaders, these are visionaries. They use their vision to inspire, motivate, and influence their followers. So judging by these two individuals, you're probably wondering, what's wrong with this approach? Nothing if you view Adolf Hitler as a transformational leader. But in actuality, Adolf Hitler may be one of the most infamous transformational leaders of this century. But his skewed moral compass, so skewed, it only emphasizes the importance of leaders to portray a strong ethical base. Stated by International Leadership Association's Joanne B. Seal, in leadership, we see morality magnified, and that is why the study of ethics is fundamental to our understanding of leadership. Defined as the standards of rights and wrongs that influence our behavior, ethics is at the very core of honorable leadership. One man who understands firmly ethics' role in this context in leadership is Frostburg State University's professor and author of Stand Your Ground, Evan Alstein. In his book, he analyzes leadership through the perspective of the nationally acclaimed military institute, West Point Academy. In his novel, he addresses certain approaches and attitudes that we can all exercise to strengthen our ethical foundation. Specifically focuses on the chapter Go All In. He defines 4 clear guidelines in which we can use to build a stronger ethical base. The guidelines are as follows. Number 1, as leaders, we must be 100% committed to honorable leadership 24/7. Number 2, as leaders, we must not tell 70%, 80%, or even 90% of the truth. It must be 100% the whole truth. Number 3, leaders must adhere to the process outcome model, which model states that leaders must put an equal importance on the process as well as its outcome. And last but not least, senior managers, which are you, the leaders, emphasize ethics, and junior managers, your followers, adhere to and display good ethics. So looking at some of the cases, let's see where some leaders fail to live up to these standards. Can anyone here identify these 3 individuals? Well, these 3 men are Kenneth Lake, CEO, Anthony Faustow, and Jeffrey Skilling. These 3 men were the masterminds behind what is known as today's the Enron scandal. And these 3 men claim to fame for falsifying documents, taking advantage of stockholders, and hiding debts from stakeholders and shareholders. Looking at a similar approach, looking at a similar case where corruption was had at the executive leadership level. We see executives in the WorldCom, their claim to fame, their claim to fame was hiding assets from some of its stakeholders. WorldCom, the telecommunications field was seeing a decrease in its share profits. So these four men took it upon themselves to hide their assets by falsifying a lot of the balance sheets. So with all this, these leaders had the money, the charisma, the cachet, the brain power, the status, everything. So what were they missing? This brings me to my final concept that is also stated in Professor Allstein's Sandra Brown. It was the be no do model. We can see that through these leaders that they seek knowledge to develop a new skill set. They adhere to the do, which is execute through planning, with the biggest and most important factor that they were lacking in their honorable leadership was be, which means leadership with honor. So I ask you again, what makes a good leader? Thank you.